Jennifer Griffin is at the Pentagon. Jennifer, talk to us about how the United States Navy prepared and practiced for this.
Well, Shepard, we've just learned from a Pentagon spokesman, Captain Jeff Davis, described to us how, in fact, the sailors on board the USS Porter and USS Ross prepared for 2 days prior to the launch of those Tomahawk missiles. They did things such as prepare by inserting the coordinates of that airbase, Syrian airbase in Syria, into the Tomahawk. Those Tomahawk missiles, those TLAM missiles, have to be pre-programmed before they are launched. So they went through the drills so that they would be ready when given the orders to launch the strikes. On board those 2 destroyers who were in the Eastern Mediterranean tonight, we've reported that they were each carrying up to 70 Tomahawk missiles altogether. They ended up firing 59 Tomahawk missiles at a very small area inside Syria at that Syrian air base just outside Homs. It's about 120 miles from where the sarin nerve gas attack occurred 72 hours ago. The reason that that air base was chosen as the target, we're told, and John Roberts has been reporting from down at Mar-a-Lago, the reason it was chosen is that there is intelligence suggesting that is where the Syrian plane was loaded with the chemical agents, the sarin gas, inside the bomb that was dropped on Tuesday on those innocent women and children as they slept. And so this airbase was chosen for the very reason that in the past chemical weapons have been stored there. Prior to 2013, there were large weapon stores there. We've also learned from the Pentagon that they took great lengths not to actually hit the remaining chemical agents that are stored at the base. And we also have tonight, we've learned from the Pentagon, Shepard, that they have released in real time, they could see the flight path of that Syrian plane as it made its way to the village Khan Sheikhoun, where the sarin gas was dropped on Tuesday, and they have released the flight path of that Syrian plane. And as Brett Baer and John Roberts have reported tonight, we now know that Western intelligence and U.S. intelligence knew that the Russians knew in real time that the Syrians were actually loading those chemical weapons onto that plane. So that, I think, was a real turning point for both the Pentagon as well as the president and his national security staff when they received that intelligence that the Russians, in fact, were aware that the Assad regime was going to drop these chemical weapons. So this particular base was chosen for a very specific reason. And think about it, Shep, these are 59 1,000-pound bombs, if you will. They're missiles, Tomahawk missiles, that landed in this small space within this airfield and striking these hangars and airplanes at this airbase. Each one of those Tomahawks cost about $1 million, so that's $59 million in munitions that were expended tonight to drop the weaponry on this airbase and to send this signal to the Assad regime that using chemical weapons would not be tolerated. And those Tomahawks, they fly at about 500 miles per hour. They are 18 feet long. Each Tomahawk is 18 feet long, 2 feet wide. It's really like a flying telephone pole. It's been described that way to me. And they can be seen with the naked eye as they're moving along. And it could have taken upwards of 30 to 40 minutes for them to fly from the USS Porter and the USS Ross, which have been based in the Mediterranean.
Wow.
Shepard.
Jennifer, you mentioned they've been preparing for this for a couple of days. Out of curiosity, are they preparing for the possibility that the Assad regime strikes again and the United States might have to act again, or is that not part of this?
I don't believe that at this moment they believe that the Assad regime would be so bold as to act again. Certainly, I think if you look at this, what the Pentagon is describing as a proportional strike and what I would describe as a limited strike on this one air base, they have the means to escalate. If the Assad regime uses chemical weapons again, or even uses its air force with barrel bombs again, I would not be surprised to see the U.S. military military react, because, again, this is designed to send a message to Assad to stop killing his own people. It is a message that is long overdue. As you've been reporting for 7 years now, and we've been reporting, 450,000 civilians have been killed in Syria. 7 years, and nothing has stopped the Assad regime from continuing with the killing. But I believe at this point in time, we know that 59 of the 70 Tomahawks have been used by these two American destroyers that are in the eastern Mediterranean. They certainly could resupply at Ceuta Bay on the island of Crete in Greece. That's where they load the Tomahawks onto the destroyers. It's also notable, Shep, that the Navy 2 years ago, in 2015, they forward deployed 4 destroyers to Rota, Spain, because they, for the first time in many years, they felt the need to have a U.S. Navy presence in the Mediterranean. So this has all been part of the prepositioning of naval assets in the event that this day would come. Shepard.
Jennifer Griffin, with all the information from the Pentagon tonight. Jennifer, appreciate it very much.